Welcome to the Minnesota Transportation Museum's podcast series on the history of rail and bus transportation in the upper Midwest. Our podcast series is brought to you with funding provided by a Minnesota Historical Society Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund Partnership grant. This podcast shows the evolution of bus transportation in Minnesota and the progression of travel from rail to rubber on the road for public transportation. Minnesota, and in particular the Twin Cities metro area, has quite a storied history of how the current bus system roared to life on urban streets. Before buses roamed the roads, streetcars were king of public transportation. Locally, Twin City Rapid Transit operated the metro streetcar system. No one knows exactly when the first motor bus served the Twin Cities area, but it was probably during World War I. Originally, buses were short shuttles that served as extensions of streetcar lines. Some were converted to streetcar when the car lines were extended. Others remained bus lines. In 1925, Twin City Rapid Transit purchased Twin City Motor Bus Company, its largest competitor. It also bought out all the other small bus lines in the Twin Cities, as well as all the taxi cabs, creating a transit monopoly that lasted until 1929. By 1930, buses were carrying 5.4 million passengers a year, 4% of the system total. The 1930s saw Twin City Rapid Transit convert its first streetcar lines to bus. By 1940, bus ridership had increased to 9 million a year, 8.6% of total riders. World War II threw a tremendous burden onto Twin City Rapid Transit. Ridership in the system doubled to near record levels due to gas and tire rationing. Unable to obtain more streetcars, Twin City Rapid Transit added 90 buses to the fleet. Perhaps the most notable new services ran from both cities to the massive New Brighton Arsenal munitions plant. Buses carried about 10% of the wartime riders. After the war, Twin City Rapid Transit management decided to stick with streetcars. However, the streetcar infrastructure was severely deteriorated and needed a major capital investment to continue operations. Due to falling ridership, system upgrades were economically unfeasible. By 1950, just before the new Twin City Rapid Transit management began the wholesale phase-out of streetcars, bus ridership had jumped to 22% of the system total. Aided by the much-remarked national conspiracy of General Motors, Standard Oil, and Firestone, Twin City Rapid Transit converted the last streetcars to bus in 1954. In the process, it switched from Mack buses, its 1940s preference, to General Motors Corporation, buying about 500 new Model 5105 GMCs to replace the streetcars. Ridership plummeted through the 1950s and 1960s as people abandoned transit for the automobile. As ridership dropped, fares increased to make up for the lost revenue, setting up a downward spiral of ridership. Other than 150 new buses purchased during the early 60s, there was little capital investment in the bus system and ridership continued its decline. All across the United States, transit systems were slipping into unprofitability and were being purchased by governments to operate at a deficit with tax support. In 1967, the Minnesota legislature created the Metropolitan Transit Commission for just that purpose. Metropolitan Transit Commission bought Twin City Rapid Transit in 1970. By 1975, most of the remaining small private suburban lines were also purchased by Metropolitan Transit Commission. During the last 4 decades, Metropolitan Transit Commission invested heavily in new fleet and facilities. The fleet grew from about 500 buses to almost 1,000 and featured improvements such as air conditioning, power steering, two-way radios, electronic destination signs, wheelchair lifts, green buses, and kneeling buses. The 3 converted and deteriorated streetcar barns were replaced with new garages. 2 additional garages and a heavy overhaul shop were built. From about 6 express buses in 1970, express service grew to about 400 buses and expanded deep into the suburbs, serving a growing network of park-and-ride lots. By 2009, express buses rolled past freeway traffic jams with over 300 miles of shoulder bus lanes and HOV, high-occupancy vehicle lanes. Transit hubs were built throughout the suburbs to streamline trips that used to require transfers to get to the heart of Minneapolis or St. Paul. Take a step back in time aboard the Minnesota Transportation Museum's classic buses. Available for special events and charters, the museum's buses and driver operators offer a unique visage into bus transportation history in Minnesota.